Well, you said something earlier about how you personally respect authors. And even in this day and age, even though it's gotten a lot easier in the last 20 or so years with Amazon allowing just about anybody to publish a book, if you've written a good book that helps people, Richard, as you well know, it's just amazing how that happens, right? Because as a book author, you don't know who you're helping. The number of people that will reach out to you is a very small percentage, yet that book has an impact. And, when it's a good book, there's a certain level of respect that just comes with that. I mean, think about the well-known authors that you like, whether they're business authors, even fictional authors, whoever it is. Yeah, you look up to them.
Welcome to the Sharpen the Spear podcast, where we help home service pros cut through the noise, sharpen their business tools, and reclaim the profit, freedom, and impact they've been missing. I'm your host, Richard Walsh, Profit Freedom Coach, and I'm here to help you stop grinding and start growing. Let's sharpen the spear. And we are back on STS Sharpen the Spear podcast with another incredible guest. I've got Mike Capuzzi with us today, and this is a fantastic topic. I know I said that before, but I've actually done this stuff, so it's kind of cool. So I got like a brother in ink, I guess we call it. Well, the old kind of ink, the kind you write with, not the kind you put on your body. But Mike, no one knows Mike better than Mike. So let's give us the backstory, bring us up to speed, and let's get into this conversation.
Well, Richard, first of all, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. And yeah, we're going to talk about nonfiction, short, helpful books. I know you're a short book author. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but we're going to be intentional today about it. Long story short, graduated from Penn State many decades ago with an engineering degree, did engineering for a number of years, moved into an engineering software role with a little small startup back in the 90s. And ironically, I was with that company for a number of years, traveled the world. It was very cool. Met my wife, wasn't my wife at the time, obviously. And just an amazing experience, Richard. Interestingly enough, I had stock options and I kept them even after I left. And that company just went public a couple of years ago. So that was kind of cool. And they're doing pretty good. But, left that at the height of the dot-com era, which was late 90s, early 2000s, to start my own consulting company. And I was working with software companies because that's what I knew. And really was helping software companies with marketing. I was talking to you earlier about a manufacturing software client of ours, and just help them with marketing. Long story short, 2005, 2006, I pivoted and really started focusing on direct marketing, which is a little different type of marketing, and really focusing on small to medium, what I would call Main Street local businesses primarily. Doctors, insurance agents, consultants, chiropractors, dentists, those kind of folks. The backbone of America, if you will. And just, worked with them now for almost 3 decades, 2+ decades of just helping them with marketing, with standing out, with building an audience, all these things that are important as business owners. And for the last 7 or 8 years, have really dialed it in even more, Richard, and have focused on helping these men and women differentiate themselves and their businesses by being a published book author. So that's been the last 30+ years or close to 30 years. We've published, probably about 270 different authors over the years. Again, a lot of Main Street business owners. We do have some folks that are more worldwide presence. They're, consultants or coaches that have a worldwide audience. But our real sweet spot are those local business owners who may have never thought about writing a short book, but once they kind of get the bug, it becomes a very powerful asset in their business.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. I always, since I was very young, I liked to write. It was my creative outlet, at the time. And then, I wrote a movie. I did a bunch of stuff, right? I'm writing all the goofy stories and all this kind of stuff. And then I got into like creating. So I started creating water features, then steel sculpture, and I kind of put my art into that. Then I swung back around after 0809, writing again, like, hey, write some articles, write some emails. I'm kind of building businesses, coaching people, tried marketing. Email marketing, wasn't so good at that. That's not my favorite thing. So, and then tried to hire people, and that was a worse experience than me writing my own stuff. So we're not even going to go down that path. But I finally got to the point where I'm like, hey, I want to write a book. Like, I always wanted to have a book. Again, when I was a kid, you and I probably closer to age, but it was not happening. Okay, you had to know, like, you had to be somebody, like a publisher, and then rejection after 200, the whole old story. And now I'm like, man, I can do this. And I got an editor this time. I got an editor the first time, and that was awesome. And I got the book, bam, I got it on Amazon, got bestseller. It was fantastic. Like you said, it's a short book, 30,000 words, 100, whatever, 28 pages or something, and what a difference maker that is. Because I took that book, and I was giving kind of my side. I'm going to dive into you. So I did that, and I built an academy around it. I said, so I'm like, what we're going to talk about. Like, I had a purpose. One thing I knew, Mike, I'm like, I'm not going to like get rich selling my book. Okay. And it wasn't for lack of confidence. I'm like, I understand the book market. I mean, it's like, there's a gazillion. Okay. And I'm this thing and whatever. And like, that's a whole different effort.
Yeah.
I wanted it as an authority builder, right? That's what I want to do. And it was just awesome. And I have a second one coming out. I mentioned it to you before, just a couple of days here. So by the time this comes out, it'll be out there, called Sharpen the Spear. And, but yeah, let's kind of dial into what made you first. Let's get like, how'd you see that as a marketing tool? Is that how you first saw it?
Yeah. It really is, Richard. I mean, we're talking nonfiction books that are meant to be sales tools. They're meant to sell, right? They're meant to help. Short, helpful book. But make no mistake, this is not a memoir. This is not a piece of fiction. This is not some ethereal feel-good thing. It's meant to convert someone who's interested in what you have to say in your book to become a client, patient, whatever it might be. So how did I become interested in that? Like yourself, I've always liked to write. I've been an avid reader since I was a little kid. I have my mom's mother, my grandmother, got me hooked on reading as a young kid. She had a library in her home. I used to go visit her. Still can remember, whatever it is, 50 some odd years later, just the amazing impact that woman had on me with reading. And much like you wanted to always write, I've always wanted to write and always wanted to write a book. But that was my first thing was always just a love of reading. And then the love of marketing, and then realizing that so few people, even though there's a ton of books out there, and Amazon, I don't know how many books they get, every new book's a day, it's still a small percentage of people that actually go through the effort of research, whatever it might be, in crafting a well-written book. Now, obviously AI is having some impact these days, but for all intents and purposes, there's still a very small percentage. And like you said, once you put that author cap on, once you have that published book, and now you can proclaim you're the author or the best-selling author of Escape the Owner Prison, for example, that differentiates you, can get you on podcasts, can get your foot in the door. I mean, we can talk, in a little bit about different ways to use books, but without a doubt, Richard, as you well know, now I've now since published 21 of my own books, and they're short books, not all of them. Some of them are on Amazon, some you'll never find because I published them for a very specific reason. Maybe I was keynoting at an event and I wanted a unique gift to give away. Crafting a book just for that event, if it makes sense, smart idea. So, when they're short books, and our books are, I wrote a book called The 100-Page Book, but it's about 100 pages, 120 pages. Our sweet spot, Richard, is about 12 to 15,000 words. And whereas the average business book is 80, 90, 100,000 words, there's a difference.
Way too many. Too many. And
the other thing is, it's not just about being short. Being pithy, brevity, that is powerful in this day and age. But it's also knowing what goes here, and here in a book. Because in my mind, as a marketing guy, I know in order to get attention, to create a response, there has to be a very specific strategy amongst those pages. So I come from an Italian background. I like to cook. I like to eat. My other grandmother, who was the Italian grandmother, she would have these little recipe cards. She'd make different Sunday dinners and stuff. And I have a recipe. Our short books, we call them Shooks. It stands for Short Helpful Book. It's my brand, if you will. And it's a recipe, Richard, from the very first cover to the front cover to the back cover and everything in between is sort of a choreographed sequence to get that reader engaged and, more importantly, to respond.
Yeah, that is so awesome. And my new one's similar. So I'm glad I got an expert. I just muddled through. Okay, so that would have worked. And it seems like I think I did pretty good. So I'll send you one for sure.
Good, good.
But I love that. The recipe analogy is, I think, is great. Okay, because every book, regardless of its length, I think needs that process, right? I mean, there's always the
should
and all this stuff, right? Yeah, if you want someone to read it all the way through. But I have this weird thing about reading, and I love reading too. I'm like you, but I have this incredible respect for authors.
Yep.
Like I read every page. I skip nothing. Though people skip stuff like, I have too much respect for the author. I'm reading every word, and I like that. So mine, I figure I want people to do that for me, so I'll keep them short.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm just that direct individual. I'm very no nonsense. I'm like, let's get the point through there. And now my Escape the Only Person, I wove my story in there as well. Because I found when I was being too nonfiction, if you will, too what would you call it? Too instructional. Like, dude, there's gets a little yawn. You know what I mean? It's like, but all of a sudden I wrap in my failures with that stuff and why I'm doing it. It really brought the stuff together. Like, oh, here's a guy who actually did it and did a whole bunch of stuff wrong, fix it. Now he's sharing that stuff with me. And so now you get the real meat and you get the story and you connect it. Again, for me, that's how I built Authority.
Yep.
As an offer, as a coach and everything else. So I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, storytelling is an important part of the equation. It's interesting. It's sort of sad. You made a comment, we're probably the same age, so we're a bit old school. I'm the same way. I hear people saying, oh, I read the first chapter. I got enough out of it. I didn't read the rest of the book. I'm like, how do you do that? Yeah. I feel guilty. But there have been a lot of books of late, last several years, where I have started them. I haven't finished them just because, they're so, I call it books with bloat, B-L-O-A-T. They're just so bloated. And you're like, oh my gosh, get to the point. I haven't finished them. Interestingly enough, I'm reading a book right now for the third time, which is very unlike me, but it's such a good book. And I've read it over the years, just rereading it again. And, so yeah, short's important, but it goes beyond just being short, and it's got to be intentional, and it is about the reader, helping the reader. And I always say, rather than write a 300-page book, write 3 100-page books, because it allows you to slice and dice. It allows you 3 different marketing opportunities, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, your turnaround is faster.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, man, like you said, that bloat, all that, hey, make it 160 pages. Why? Yep. Can I say it in in a different thing? I've always appreciated authors like that too, that they can do that, have that brevity, but really, just take it through and just say what needs to be said in a great way.
It's a skill. It's a skill, Richard. Matter of fact, can I share a quote? You'll love this.
Yeah.
It's actually from 1657. So it's probably a little older than you and I.
Yeah.
And it comes from, I'm going to bring it up on my screen here. It comes from French author Blaise Pascal, who you probably have heard of. Now, I'm going to read it verbatim and then we'll think about it. He says, I've made this letter longer than usual only because I've not had the time to make it shorter. And if you think about that, I love that quote, because it's so easy to drone on and on and on, and to tighten that up and really tighten that message up and have the impact and the necessary content and context, it's a challenge, which is why a lot of people don't do it.
I agree. I think Mark Twain had another twist on that too. He says, well, if I have to speak for 90 minutes, I have to do 0 prep. 20 minutes is going to take me hours to prepare.
Exactly.
Same principle. It's like, we get it, right? So I love that concept, because it is difficult to wrap that up. And I do it now. Like I said, I don't like marketing, but I'm forced to do marketing because I'm on a business, right? That's what I have to do. But I've really learned to just drill down and get just the right points, just the right engagement, we bring it through, because I'm respectful of people's time as well. But I get it. I want them to and when you talk about email, it's subject line. Starts there.
Yep.
I mean, that's like the hardest short thing you can do.
Yep.
Make someone open something.
Yep.
You know, what do you actually, I mean, it's like, and now it's easier with chat and stuff like that. They can give you better ideas. But 20 years ago, I was trying to do that stuff like, oh.
Well, that's why skilled copywriters make so much money.
Exactly.
You know, they're so, that handcrafted ability to communicate effectively, it's a skill.
Yeah, it sure is. You know, so when we're going down this authority road, okay, and again, that which blends marketing and everything else. One thing I always tell people, if I didn't say this already, and maybe you will as well, is just really the book, that short book, that it's a business card.
Yeah.
It's the best, but you just don't ever get business cards. Like, just here, give them a book, okay? Because they should have your website in it and everything else anyways, you know, like just give them that. And people are like, oh, now you're not, and now you just give them through, you're giving them a gift.
Yep.
A business card is not a gift. It's going to be in the washing machine the next night, and they'll never be able to read it, okay? Because it's going to be in the pocket and they don't care. But a book, they're not throwing that away. They may never read it, but your name is staring at them on the passenger seat of the car where they threw it, and they get to see it every time. So I just think there's so much weight behind having that book from a marketing standpoint.
Well, you said something earlier about how you personally respect authors. And even in this day and age, even though it's gotten a lot easier in the last 20 or so years with Amazon allowing just about anybody to publish a book, you know, if you've written a good book that helps people, Richard, as you well know, it's just amazing how that happens, right? Because as a book author, you don't know who you're helping. The number of people that will reach out to you is a very small percentage, yet that book has an impact. And, you know, when it's a good book, there's a certain level of respect that just comes with that. I mean, think about the well-known authors that you like, whether they're business authors, even fictional authors, whoever it is. Yeah, you look up to them. If they were at a restaurant, you know, having lunch or dinner by themselves, chances are you probably go over and say hi because there's that, you know, familiarity, etc. So it is a very powerful thing. It's very real. That's why you'd be hard pressed to name any sort of big name business person who has not written a book. And there's a reason why.
Yeah, I did. You know, I wrote mine. It's really cool because, again, my first one was my stories woven in it, but then I did the audio version. You know, we recorded that. A friend we did the recording myself, and I'm like, okay, because I got like, you hit parts of my story that are pretty emotional, and you hear me like, I'm like still choking up. I'm like, that's where the power is. You know what I mean? Because I give that away. Yeah. I give that audio version away. I get done with the podcast. I'm a guest. I've been hundreds, right? I said, oh, I'm gonna give out a cool gift. You guys been awesome. And I give them the audio version. Get this for free. You know, just send me a 1-sentence email. You know, so what am I actually getting? I'm getting their name and email, right? And I give them the link, and they can listen to my book. You know, and people do it. So it's a great way to connect as well. And that's the 2-part thing. And I know AI will do voice recordings and all this stuff with books and everything else. But when you can actually do it in your voice, you know, whether it's made for Audible or you really, like me, you have a separate recording that's done very well, that's another connection. That's a whole nother level, right? The verbal aspect is a whole nother level of connection.
Well, the other important point to that, Richard, is, first of all, kudos, because it's not easy to record your own book. I've done it, and it can be painful. So, you know, kudos. You're right. I've played with AI, including my voice, and trying that. I was not happy with the result, but it's only going to get better. Yeah. But people absorb information in different ways, right? Not everyone's reads. There's a lot of people who don't read books, but they'll listen to a podcast. They'll watch a YouTube podcast. They'll listen to an Audible book. So, you know, you have to hitting these different ways people intake information is important. So yes, having the audio version, the print version, the digital version for Kindle, all that. And the beauty is, again, as you well know, once that book is written, you can use it in so many different ways.
Yeah. Leverage.
Yeah.
A lot of leverage. Same thing when I do, when we respond for businesses, you have to, like, someone leaves you a message, okay? Or you're reaching back out to someone. I go, it's voicemail, email, text. You do those 3 things when you respond. Oh, no one reads email. I go, no, people read email. Okay. And if you ignore it, because what does it cost you?
Yeah, right.
Nothing. Send an email. I have a car dealer that refuses to do that. And they call about my car. I go, I've never heard from you. Like, you don't leave like a message. You don't email me. You don't text me. It's 2025. Like, you're just, I'll never come back here. I'll never come back here. Okay. I will find someone who will. I mean, it's like an email, especially. I'm like, you just delete it. If you don't like it, just delete it. Or there's an unsubscribe button if you're that upset. Don't call me and tell me to take you off the list. Like, have half a brain cell and like hit unsubscribe, right? But it's just funny. I'm just kind of making fun of it. But I think it's really important, these levels of communication, these methods with your book. I mean, again, leverage. Like, what else can you do? Then I put excerpts, right? You can throw excerpts on LinkedIn and whatever. And I would take pictures of a highlighted little, paragraph, and you see, escaped the owner of prison on top, or my name, and it's highlighted in yellow, and I talk about it. And there's a picture from my book. I did a ton of those. I'm like, this is awesome. It just never ends. It's just a constant little marketing machine for you.
Well, you made a comment early on about, we're not talking about making money with these. All right. So the kind of books that you and I are talking about are typically nonfiction, business oriented books that, you're not looking to make $1 or $2. Now, there have been people, there are true published authors that make a lot of money by selling their books.
Yep.
You have to have a huge audience. There's a lot, that's really a very small minority of authors, but they're out there for sure. Instead, the way I look at it, Richard, is it's the power of the free book. And you said about using it as a business card. As a matter of fact, there's a book, one of my books behind me, which is available on Amazon. It's called The Magic of Free Books. And in that, I articulate, 50 or 60 ways that you can use the power of a free book to make money. But it's like you said, it's not on that front end, it's on the back end. Mm-hmm. So this is not this altruistic thing necessarily. It's about knowing, your business, how people process information, what information they need to make a buying decision for whatever it is you're doing, and then leading them by a quality book to the logical conclusion that this author, whether it's Richard, Mike, or whoever, is the right person, at least to find out more information from. So that's what we do.
Yeah, it's the beginning of rapport building.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like, and like, you just have to remember, and I'm sure you coach people on this, you have to have somewhere to go. You write that book, if they have nowhere to go.
Oh my God. That's the biggest mistake.
Make like $7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, even in 2025, Richard, there's still so many people making that mistake. Listen, if anyone's listening to this and they're in the middle of writing a book or they were thinking about a book, I call them exit ramps, right? You have to have exit ramps in your book for people who want more. Don't worry about the people who don't care and whatever. That's not what you're worried about, that percentage of people that want more from you. And if you don't give them clear pathways to reach out to you, connect with you, whatever it might be, shame on you, because you're making a big mistake and you're putting speed bumps in front of a potential client, customer, patient, whatever it is. So, I always say, think about the reader, only worry about the ones that you can help, and how do you get them connected with you?
Yeah, exactly. It's just because you're actually doing a disservice.
Absolutely.
You spend time, you're going to write the book, and you're not going to give them a way to it. There's an old thing in business. Okay. If someone buys from you once, they'll buy from you again, unless you're an absolute turd. Okay. But if you're halfway, they're going to buy again. So if they're going to spend, whether it's a free book, whatever that is, if they take the book, they read the book, that's a purchase.
Yep.
Whether $1 exchanged or not, it's a purchase. They've now invested their time. They've given you more than money if they read the book, right? They've given you their time, which is way more valuable than money. But again, they got to have somewhere to go, and if you're not doing that, I just don't, I believe that people don't get it and they don't do that. And they just, because I think they still think like they're going to sell 1 million books or something because it's so good. And I'm like, damn, mine's pretty good. And I don't sell that many. I give books away. I've given away far more books than I'm ever going to sell. And you know what? It's made me some bank, Mike.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. It's like, I'm like, it was one of the smarter things I've done in the last 15 years, so it was a good thing. And that's why I'm doing more.
Good for you. Yeah. I mean, it's not everybody, because I'm getting a little more picky, but even I'm a podcast host also. So I have a podcast. I've had it almost 6 years now, and I will gift a book after. So if you were on my podcast, Richard, and I liked you, it's not about like, but I would send a book as a gift, and with a little handwritten note and some other information. And it's
I had a guest. She was on brilliant. She was awesome, like super great guest. In her bio, I was like, oh, she's written 15 books and blah, blah. She's done everything, like just super high achiever. And I go, okay, so you've written 15 books. She goes, well, actually, it's 20 now. I'm like, oh man, so great podcast. She's going on some European speaking tour for 3 weeks. And what shows up in my office, 3 of her leadership books that she wrote. She just sent them to me. Didn't ask for them. It's just super cool. But that, I mean, they're right here in front of me. But there's power to that. Like, here's something I'll do. I'll give an example. So I deal with manufacturing in front of my leadership. We were talking before we jumped on about cold email, right? You do cold email and it's it's good, it's not. Well, how about you take your 100-page book, like me, and you put it in a nice yellow envelope, bubble wrapped inside, with my flyer, my information, address it to the right person. That gets opened. Now they open that, and there's a book that you've written, and there's a flyer saying how you can help them, and you can do a free this and that. You don't think you're going to get a call or an email?
Yeah.
Like, that's power. Okay.
Can I give you one tip to make that even better?
I got my pen.
Yeah. Listen, you're not even going to write this down. And as soon as I say it, you're going to be like, duh. And this is going to sound, and this is the beauty of marketing and business, because so many of the most powerful things, Richard, are the simplest things, right?
Yes, I agree.
So you're taking the time and effort, and I do the same thing. I got them right over here. I've got my bubble mailers. I've got gold ones, blue ones, red ones. It depends on which book and what I want to convey. You're putting it together. You're packaging it, yada, yada, yada. For the added expense of a little more postage and another book, send 2 books, right? And the idea is send 2 with a little note or something in that second book saying, listen, if you don't mind, maybe something to the effect of, I'm sure you're going to enjoy your copy, but here's another copy to gift, maybe to the CFO or to the chief engineer or whatever, right? So that way, that little tweak of just a second book when you do those, not all the time, it doesn't have to be all the time, but if it's a potential prospect, I'm sending 2 books.
Okay, you got me. I'll spend the extra $3.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, and that's the key, right? It's inexpensive.
But be intentional, right? You're intentional. Just a little post-it note. Hey, this is for one of your colleagues. Because if in fact you might be able to help them, why not have 2 people in that company thinking about you?
And I'm going to tell you, for me specifically, that's pretty genius.
Yeah,
that is exactly how it'll work.
Yeah,
with who I'm.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. So thank you. We're going to get off now. I'm good.
Good.
I got what I needed. I'm out of here. No, I'm just kidding. But see, it is simple things like that.
Wow.
Mike, it's like things you don't think of. It's like, I don't know. I'm like with the books. Like, I always love to give away my books. We did a little show here at my co-working space on Saturday, little business people on there. And now I didn't expect to talk to anyone who I could help, like walking in, but there was another vendor, there's a roofer. He has a roofing company. I'm like, escaped him. I'm like, I walked over, I chat with him. Here, I got something for you. And so he started looking, he go, well, how much is it? I go, it's a gift. It's free. He goes, really? And he's like, dude, we got to talk. I'm like, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
And walk him, hand him that. And like, dude, we're buddies now. And we're going to work. I can help him. And it's something as simple as that. And the power of that's awesome.
Well, and listen, I know this is not why you did it, but I'm sure without knowing, but I'm still going to be positive you've had this experience. But isn't it amazing when you're at an event like that and you hand someone a book, they ask you to autograph it?
Yeah.
Like, how crazy is that? I can remember, right?
Always got the Sharpie.
And that is the power of being an author, right? Of a real book. I always say it's hard to autograph a PDF or a digital book, a Kindle book, an Audible book. I mean, they have their place. We know that. But there is nothing like a real book that someone can take with them. And by the way, I know you're a veteran, right?
Yes.
This is I worked with a number, oh my gosh, like 50 fighter pilots.
Oh, cool.
And my client was he was a fighter pilot, and he published these anthology books. He did 3 of them, 3 different years. We released them on Veterans Day, but they're stories from like different fighter pilots and their stories, and they're meant to encourage the next generation.
That's cool.
Single Seat Wisdom, very cool guy. And he raised, by the way, the other cool thing about you can do books, everything he'd raised from this, Richard, all went to a charity for childhood cancer. The money was for a nonprofit, but the book was for helping that next generation of young fighter pilots.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That
very
is
cool.
It is that, there's no substitution for the tactile touching the pages, the smell of it, or if you're highlighting, like the smell of old books, even the smell of old books. I've had some like 100-year-old books, you know what I mean? You're like, there's just something, and I get it. We're authors and but I get stuff on Kindle because I want it like yesterday, and I read it and it's no fun. It's not fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but man, sitting at home.
Part of it's your age. Honestly, because I can't give my kids paperbacks anymore. My kids are like, what?
Oh, my son devours 700-page books every week. I mean, he's in the Marines now, but
good.
He's a big reader, but mine, my thing is like, I have this issue also. I'm a finisher. Everything I do, I am in it till it's done. I'm not a multitask anything. So when I get in a book, just don't even talk to me. I'm walking around the house, whatever. And it's just, and I just love it. I mean, I just get so into it.
Well, you talk about, this is even geekier. My wife and I are doing a transatlantic cruise in the fall, late fall. First, it's been on I want to sail across the Atlantic. So we're flying to Europe and coming back. Richard, now in that case, I am bringing my Kindle book. I am already buying I'm already setting up my reading list because I know we're at sea for like 5 days in a row, which to me is pure heaven. I'm not going to be at the casino. Right. I will be eating and drinking a little bit, but I am just looking forward to just reading.
Yeah.
We're guilt-free.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's good. And I have 6 kids. Okay. So when raising them, it was hard to get a book in. But I can ignore anybody. So I would get through books, but just not quite the volume I really wanted to get. But I love it. I love the whole aspect of it. Again, when you create it, you do your cover, and there's just so many things. Like when you're working with these people, Mike, what's the extent? And I know you probably do it all, but kind of break it down to what it looks like when someone works with you. And what's kind of the process, and what are you doing and not doing, and all that good stuff?
Well, first off, thank you. I appreciate that question. We're doing A to Z. It's turnkey. So again, we are not the publisher. So we're a hybrid publisher. You're writing the book. We're publishing it. You own the rights to it. We don't own the rights to it, that kind of thing. And we're working with, like I said, men and women who believe in the power of the short book, want to know how to do it correctly, how to make it a business asset. So it literally starts, Richard, with every client, all 200, almost 300 clients work directly with me. That's how I've designed it. I know it's not super scalable, but that's okay. This is the business I want. Mm-hmm. I love working with these clients most of the time and really just guiding them from inception of an idea of how they want to serve somebody, how they do serve somebody, and then getting that and crafting a short, helpful book around that. So it's literally, getting on Zooms, brainstorming ideas, and creating an outline for the book that you need to go write, literally from the front cover to the back cover. And, it's about a good client can get it done in 8 to 12 weeks. Mm-hmm. If they're moving along. Not everyone gets it done that quickly. We've had them done even shorter. But it's a turnkey, everything from the cover to getting it up on Amazon. If you need audiobook and you don't want to do it yourself, if you want to do it yourself, we can help you. But we do it all. Kindle versions, all that good stuff. So, but there's a zillion people that do that. What makes us different is my 30 years of marketing background, knowing how to do this, our recipe, right? So if you like what I'm saying and you want to follow our recipe. Now, I have my books on Amazon, Richard, they give away the recipe. I've helped probably a ton more people craft books that I don't know about because I just give it away. Mm-hmm. But not everybody wants to do it on themselves. They want to work with a pro, and that's who we're here for.
Yeah, I'm like, my new one is coming out. Okay. It is legit how to.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you actually just take the book, you can go do it. But you know
Yep.
what I tell people? I go, but they're not gonna.
Yeah. A certain percentage will,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah.
the level I'm operating at, like they're not. But they're gonna go, dang, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Come do that with my people.
Yep.
You know, because they're not gonna go hand books out to people and say do this because we all know how people are. They're not gonna do it. Okay, so it's great. So people, because at first I was like, this is really how to. Like I'm like, did I do
Mm-hmm.
too much? How to?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, then I stepped back and went, nope, this is amazing. And it's going out, you know? So it's, I totally get it when you can help people do that. I think what people don't understand either, not, yes, it's simplified, self-publishing, everything else. There's still a lot to, you ever format your book? And I'm just talking from the last week when I was, you know, it's like, there's a lot to it. So it looks good.
Well, there's a whole nuance to really good book design. And again, that stuff is, you can find people, and there's good people, and you can study design and all that. It's still a hurdle. There's still a lot of crappy looking books out there.
Yeah.
I think the most critical part of I can convey today, Richard, is knowing what your goal is. What's Richard's goal with this book? Obviously, it's probably to try to get clients right over here. What's the goal you want for the reader? What are they trying to accomplish? And how do you kind of mix all that together in a book that can be read when that CEO jumps on a plane in New York, by the time she lands in Chicago, she's read that thing, like, I got to hire Richard, or at least I got to reach out to him and see what he's about. So there is a nuance to doing it right. And that's, again, where we come in.
Well, I think another thing, Mike, is for an entrepreneur, you're in business, whether you're a doctor, dentist, whether I guess we're both doctors, whatever you do, right? You got your thing, like you said, me, a business coach. Coming back to the value of our time, believe me, if you just gonna think you're going to bang out a book and go so public, the time that you're going to spend figuring out so that it ends up actually looking good, it pays someone.
Yeah.
This is the business coach in me trying to get you to work on things that matter, big things that only you can do, because this stuff
well, not only the design, minimum pay for a proofreader, which again, a copy editor. It doesn't even have to be an editor. Editor is like someone who's really massaging the book and how it goes. Copy editor is at least looking at it and saying, this is written the right way and grammar and all that good stuff.
I had an editor for Escape the Owner Prison, right? And I'm like, and I'm flying through this thing. Okay. When I go, I get him a finisher. So I'm standing at my kitchen counter writing this book for a couple of weeks, right? Just banging this thing out and sending her chapter after chapter, right? And she's editing the thing. And it's like, she come back, and this was what I didn't know much about editors. Okay. So I'm like, I don't know if they're going to rewrite what I have. I don't know what's going to happen. So I sent her a chapter, and it comes back, and there's like, she puts a comma in here and a comma in red, okay, there's that. And then she'll move one word in the sentence, and it's better. And she kept doing it. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And I kept sending the next thing. I'm like, oh, I'm pretty good. I'm making corrections. And I'm so weird, Mike, that I actually printed all the corrections. I printed the whole manuscript with the red in it, just so I go pay. See only one comma on that page, man. And she loved commas. She told me she's a big fan of commas. Okay. So I'm like, okay, but here's the best part. I tell you, and that was great. And it really flowed, right? And there was no major, don't say this, moving paragraphs. Really well done. I mean, a good, there might be time when they need to do that, but it really came down to my title and subtitle. Because I always tell people I had 27 working titles.
Wow.
Okay. And I went with the 28th. Okay. Because I only got to escape the owner prison because of, I got confirmation from someone else and everything else. But the subtitle was more miserable.
Yeah.
And I had basically, and I go, something's not working. She goes, well, just put this over here and say that. And I went, oh, that's genius. Yeah. That works. I'm toiling over this thing for weeks. And she just moved those. I mean, that's the brilliance of an editor. Okay. Because they're not emotionally attached.
Yeah.
I do the same thing in business coaching. I have no emotion towards your business. I'm just going to fix it.
Yep.
So it's, and again, that's worth paying for. I'm telling you, that time saving, that aggravation, that anxiety, you need pros.
Yeah, and the other thing is, unfortunately, the reality is especially because I think Amazon has really made it so simple and you can whip out a Kindle book tomorrow, is that there's a lot of books that people just don't give the forethought. I'm not saying you need to concentrate for months or years. That's not what I'm talking about. But you need to have, you're ex-military, you need a pathway. You need to know where you're going, how we're getting there. And if something comes up, how we're going to divert and go, another way around. And that's how it is with the book. Like you need to have some intentional thought and planning. And it's not just about putting words, down on a piece of paper. So yeah, I mean, that would be when you work with someone who's got that experience and can see it objectively, it can make all the difference.
Well, and your niche, I think, is really prime for that, because you have these people with extensive experience in what they do. Okay,
Yep.
you're talking nonfiction, right? But
Yep.
someone like you has to come in like, I need to craft this, because they're going to show up and throw up. Okay, they're just going to give you all this stuff, right? And you got to go, what am I all this? Okay, we need 100 pages or less.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
so it's like, but someone's got to do that, right? Like you got to, and part of what you do, what I'm seeing, Mike, is that you're giving them some parameters and the outcomes. You're talking outcomes, and outcomes are really, really critical. We do this in business all the time too. Like you have to understand the real outcome, not did it or didn't do it. It's like, what are we actually trying to do with this outcome? Who are we trying to reach? Why are we doing it? What do we want them to do? Where do you want them to go? Because to me, it's the beginning of getting someone in my ecosystem.
Yep.
Right. And you got to think of it that way, I think.
Yeah, and it brings up another topic which we have not hit on. I'm not saying, and we don't necessarily need to, but it's sort of the scary part and promise of AI. Like AI now, I won't even get into it, but I could write a 100-page book before the close of business today if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it doesn't mean it's going to be a great book. It doesn't mean it's, so I think there's this perception already of like, oh, I just need to use ChatGPT and it'll write my book for me. Well, if it doesn't, there's so many still question marks. If it doesn't know how you sound, if it doesn't, understand what the goal is, et cetera, et cetera. But, that's another thing for you to consider, Richard, is, I don't know if you've done this yet, but have you built a custom GPT out of your books yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
so that
love
means
it.
you could share with the client, potentially share it with the client too, like as a.
Yeah, I do that. We're operating in the business. What I'm doing with it, Mike, AI, it's not writing books per se, right? But what I'm doing from the operational, because I work with a lot of service and trades guys. So your plumbers, your builders, all this stuff who think there's no place for AI. Like AI can't sweat pipe. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah, I get that, but you're not understanding. You need it for the business side that all of us craftsmen suck at. Okay, we're not good at the business. Believe me, I made lots of money. Okay, a lot. I built cool things, but the business side, I don't know, no training in that. That ended up being my demise after 20 years, right? But now we put that in place. It can make them more. I'm preparing them to scale. What I tell people is the blue collar is going to be the new white collar. They're going to be the new wealthy. Okay. So, but not unless they're able to scale into it. And they don't have the systems and processes, and they don't have the ability to scale, not grow, but scale. And this is the tool, the AI tool. That's what's going to get them there. And I'm showing them how to do that. So we're applying that.
Very good. Very good.
It's exciting. It's very, very exciting.
Yeah.
Anything, Mike, like we just on the AI thing, since you brought it up, anything can be used for good or evil. It could be a gun, it could be a rock. I mean, it's all good, right? Like I built beautiful things with rocks, and other people smash people in the head with them. I don't know, kill them. I don't. So anything is up for grabs, but we just have to choose. You want to do it for good? You want to make great things, like you said, writing, whatever it is, helping with it, maybe an email campaign, whatever. It's like staring at the blank page, right? And everyone gets the writer's block or whatever. If something can break that, same thing in business. If something can start the ball rolling where my creativity can jump on top of it and go, oh, I get, okay. Yeah, no, it's just having you and I sat and did a whiteboard session.
Yep.
Do the stuff, we'd have 2 whiteboards, giant, okay, filled, because we're collaborating. It's a collaborator. That's how you have to treat it. Don't think you're stupid. Just go, I need to collaborate with people. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, nor do I ever want to be. right? Because that's how I learned. So it's the same. I treat it in the same way.
Yeah, I 100% agree, Richard. I think it has many more positive benefits to folks like us used correctly. It really is amazing, and you can go down rabbit holes real quick. It doesn't take too long to go down. But even just titles of books and letting it brainstorm, or at least you feed it some of your top titles and ask it to improve it or whatever it might be. And I'm always surprised. Doesn't mean I'm always choosing what it spits out, but wow. I mean, you get my wife, who's not a real big fan of it. She has a travel business. She's starting to use it more and more, and she helps out with my business on the back end. But she probably like sick of me. Like I'll text her like, "Oh my gosh, look at this."
Yeah.
I'm just dumbfounded when it gives you something.
Me too. I'm telling them. I mean, if you were looking in my office, you see me like laughing and moving because the stuff is, I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like, I'll give you an example. So I'm writing like my bio. I'm going to put my bio on this fresh of how do I convey who I am, what I do, and whatever. It's really cool. But it ended with this thing that I would never come up with because it's about me. I'm not super great at I can talk about myself, and it said, I still laugh. I laughed so hard when it wrote it, and I'm like, it's genius. It said, when Richard walks in the room, leaders lead in and results follow. And I'm like, dude, I would never write that. I go, that's not everything. Okay. I'm like, that is genius.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, I would never come up with that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that way. Right.
Yeah.
You have to have someone looking from the outside, which is funny because that's what I do for business, right? I'm the outside eyes. Yep. You need that. And it can be an incredible sounding board that can throw out stuff and, you have to accept it, which I did. I'm like, that's pretty sweet. But it's, it's a great tool. You use the tool, you got to know that. And here's what I always tell people when you go all Terminator and I think it's going to take over the world and all this stuff, I'm like, well, yeah, that's what we got to get to use it for all the good. So we know how it operates and we can combat the evil. How about that? Be the warrior. Yep. Okay. I'm preparing AI to do battle with bad AI. Okay. I want to be on the front line with that too. Whatever. That's kind of more funny, but it's true. Got to know how to use it properly, how to counter the bad stuff because it's all coming.
Yeah.
Business is always, that's the world. It's not new. It's just a different format. You know what I mean? Everyone talks smack about this person, undercuts this one. There's dirty business, good business, and all that. It's just a new tool. That's all it is. So if you embrace it, use it for good, you can get the leg up. Because I do tell businesses, Mike, if you're not doing this now, all my clients, you do this now, you will be smoked. I mean, you'll be eating the crumbs off my clients' tables. Okay. Only the stuff they don't want to do. They can command them. That's what I'm talking about scaling. Like they will, and you'll never catch up because it changes so fast. And now we're in the groove of utilizing these tools, moving faster and more forward. And those are going to be way back here in dinosaur land, and they're going to be trying to catch up. So I'm just saying, you figure it out. That's what I'm saying.
And, it's not something to be afraid of either, right? It doesn't. I get it, especially if it's not their sweet spot. They're not geeking out on a computer 10 hours a day. I get that. I have another business with it's in the retail space, so it's basically a consulting company for mattress retailers of all things.
Right.
Something I've had with some guys for a number of years, and those mattress retailers, I mean, they're the antithesis, but we're showing them how to leverage it. And it's just being smart about it and having really just another, it's not going to replace Richard Walsh, with your experience and all that you bring to the table, but it's like having a virtual smart person next to you if you know how to use it correctly, just for bouncing ideas off and stuff like that.
Plus, you have to get people in the door. Go back to the marketing conversation. Let me tell me what to do. Show me, I don't want to, I could toil for a week and get the right subject line, or I could put it in chat and have it in 1.5 seconds.
Yep.
Okay. I'll take that. Okay. Yeah. I could probably write as good as I can. I can't, but you know what I mean? What you like to think about, who cares?
Well, we just, matter of fact, again, I don't want to geek out too much on this because it's getting off topic, but we just showed these retailers who, they all have Google reviews, right? They're all bricks and mortar, Main Street. cut and paste your Google reviews into chat and have chat analyze it for, different things, right? We have these prompts we created to help them analyze, because that content that their customers are writing oftentimes can be far more valuable with the insights and the ideas and the word choices. So that's one of the ways I think an everyday business owner can start figuring this out, is like, you have stuff, you have reviews, you have content, you need to be figuring out social media in some capacity. You need to be out there in front of people on a somewhat regular basis. AI can really help there.
And I'll end the AI discussion with this from my side. Don't, like, you ask them and it gives you, and you go, that's an amazing answer. Okay, you're not done.
Yeah, right.
Okay, human nature is to be lazy. Okay, so is chat. It's built by humans. It'll give you the easiest thing and go, let's go a little deeper. Oh, excellent idea. Or the 2 words on chat that I learned is roast this.
Roast?
Just roast. Yeah.
Huh.
Like, roast, put that in. Oh, and it'll tear that thing apart that you gave us so good. And you're like, yeah, you and everybody else. It'll say stuff like that. I'm like, because now for mine, it's like talks in my voice basically, but I'm like, and you go deep, like, oh, and it's a little rabbit hole, but it will really drill your stuff down. And now you have differentiation. Okay. And you're not what everyone else is getting. So you got to remember, you got to treat it. I treat it, like, give me more. Let's go to this way. Let's go deeper. Let's do this. Cause I'm like, this can't be, it's not that easy. Do you know what I mean? It's easy for them, but it's just giving you the basic. I make it work.
Yep.
That's who I am.
Without a doubt.
Knife handing, get it done. No, but it's fun. Mike, let's kind of put a bow on this whole thing. Let's talk a little bit about, we've talked a little bit about what you do. Okay. And all that kind of stuff. So give us some final words. Kind of wrap this up on the hows and whys and all that kind of stuff. And of course, we'll give it all your details and everything else. And let's do that.
Yeah. Well, I would say this, Richard, regardless of what you do to serve others. Now, we haven't worked with like a pizza shop owner, but I'm just waiting to work. I'm writing to publish a shook about pizza. But, if you're in the business of serving others, then there's probably a very good case to be made that a short, helpful book can help differentiate you, help create new pathways for new clients, customers, patients, whatever you call them, students, whatever you have. And it really allows you to differentiate yourself, because chances are your competition is not doing it. So I'd say, if what we've talked about today interests you, I do have a gift for your listeners, Richard, if that's okay to offer.
Oh, gifts are always welcome.
Well, it's actually 3 gifts. It's actually 3 books.
3 gifts are even more welcome.
So I have now they're digital, so they can get them instantly. I have a collection of 3 shooks. One's called The Magic of Gratitude. That's a little gift shook that I did years ago. Another one's called The Magic of Working Together. And then this is one of my Amazon best-selling books that I published years ago, called The Magic of Short Books. And that's one of the books where I literally give you the recipe on, a short, helpful book. So those 3 digitally, I'll send them to you digitally. If you go to mikecapuzzi.com/magic, that's a hidden link, mikecapuzzi.com/magic. Let me know you heard me on Richard's podcast, and I'll email you the links for all 3 of those. And the Magic of Short Books, somebody could take that and in another month or 2 have their own short, helpful book out there.
Yeah, it's powerful, man. And I always do this on my podcast, Mike, too. When guys are offering things, especially something like that magnitude, you got 3 books. Okay, giving this stuff out. It's just get it. Go to the site, like, get them, and then do the next important step. Read them, and then after that important step, put them into action. Either contact Mike, get the process going, and help me bang this out. And believe me, talk to Mike about that. Because I'm telling you, your time's worth a lot of money. And if you want to toil, I'm just take my experience, others, right? Like, just consider having other experts do it. It's experts are a beautiful thing. That's why they're out there, to save you time, compress time, and Mike will do that for you. So I really appreciate the gift, Mike. This has been a great conversation, as I knew it would. A lot of fun. I think we shared some good stuff.
Yeah. And congratulations on your latest short book,
Thank you.
Richard.
Thank you.
So,
It's gonna be out. That's going to be fun. I'll send you that
yeah,
as well.
definitely.
And it's a lot of fun. It's like looks like there's going to be more very soon.
That'll be the last thing I'll wrap up. It's amazing, especially if someone's listening. It's like, oh my gosh, I could never write a book, which by the way, that'll be one of the last things I want to share is so many people have mental head trash, right? Who am I to write a book? I'm not good. I'm not a good writer. Again, we're not talking about this monumental New York Times best-selling. It's got to be super polished. This is a piece of communication. Again, if you're helping people, we can make it happen so that, you sound like you should. So please get that mental trash out of there. But I would just say, it's a cliche, but just do it. I've worked with so many folks that didn't think they could write the first one, Richard, and now they've got 3 or 4 or 5 shooks behind them because as they start seeing the opportunities that are out there for a short, helpful book.
Yeah, the stats I think are where 82% of all Americans want to write a book. Only 2% do.
Yeah.
So think about this. This leads to how I think. I want to be in the 2%.
Yeah.
I like elite. Okay, I like being the few. Okay, that's why I'm a Marine. Okay, so it's that kind of thing you got to think about. Like you are really setting yourself apart. I tell people that in business, business owners that reach the 7-figure mark, 1 million or above, only 4% of all small businesses achieve that level. So if you do it or you've done it, you're in a small group.
Yep.
That's some pretty cool stuff. And
Yep.
authoring's the same thing. So like I always try to be that guy.
Yep.
I'm a contrarian by nature. So there goes the herd and I go the other way. Off the cliff and that's just how I roll. But yeah, awesome. Mike, absolutely fantastic. Thank you again for everything. Shared so much great stuff. Guys, reach out, take advantage of his links, get those free books, read them, put them into action, contact Mike, make all this happen. And let me hear about your new short books. You guys are your shooks, right? Shooks. Let's do some shooking. Okay. I like it. All right. Everybody else, we'll see you on the next STS podcast. Thanks for tuning in to Sharpen the Spear podcast. If today's episode helped you think sharper, act smarter, or see new profit potential, do me a favor. Share it with a fellow home service owner and leave a quick review. Ready to find the profit hiding in your business? Head to sharpenthespearcoaching.com and book your free profit discovery call today. And until next time, keep sharpening.